Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Theravada Buddhism series, Dhamma talk number 60. Full predominance. Adhipati. Full predominance are full means to success. To succeed in Dhamma practice, one needs one of the four predominance. They are noble wish, chanda, effort, viriya, consciousness, citta, and wisdom, vimamsa. When one of these four arises with strong volition, every other mental state falls in line with it. You can say they are the supreme commander. No one is above supreme commander. When one of these four leads, the other three stay at the back, not four leading at the same time. Whenever one leads, the other three follow from behind. I think we have all heard about 5 controlling mental faculties. Because that is the basic of our practice. The word is controlling faculties, so they are also leaders. But when it compared to predominance, when it compared to the supreme commander, they are like general. They are still the leaders, but they are the leader of their own division. Supreme Commander is the leader of all. So, these 5 controlling mental faculties are a step below the predominance, Adhipati. These prevailing conditions are the causes of many results. Chanda, viriya, and and wisdom. Adhipati are cetasika. They are mental factors, mental associate, cetasika. 3 of the 4. Chanda, Viriya, and Vimansa. Let's call it Pinya. They are mental factors. These 3 governs and control the associated citta, consciousness, cetasika, mental factor, and mind-made rupa, mind-made material. What it means is, these 3, they arise together with associated mental factors and also associated mind-made material. They all rise together. But they govern, they control how these mental factors works, and also how these materials, but specific material that arises out of mind. They direct, they govern, and they control it, these 3. I'll repeat again. These 3 govern and control the associated consciousness, mental factors, and mind-made material. Now, there are 4. The 4th predominant is citta, consciousness. When consciousness becomes predominant, it governs the mental factors and mind-made material. The first 3 is mental factors govern consciousness and mind-made material. And when consciousness becomes predominant, it governs all the mental factors and the mind-made material. There's a slight distinction. Full predominance most obviously occur in person practicing to become a Buddha. So in other words, we are using Bodhisattva as an example. Hermit Sumedha had all qualities to become enlightened at the time of Buddha Dipankara. Just by listening appropriate Dhamma from that Buddha, and he will become fully enlightened and attain Nibbana, because he has all the qualities, 4 means of accomplishments and 5 jhanas. He already had it at that time. Because of that, just by listening to a Dhamma, he can easily become a Rahat and then attain Nibbana. However, his noble wish, chanda, to become a Buddha and help countless beings to liberation is stronger than self-liberating in the quickest way. He can attain Nibbana right then and there, but his desire, his wish to become a Buddha so that he could help liberating so many countless beings is a lot stronger. Sacrificing body parts, sacrificing many lives, many of his past lives, and suffering countless number of lives to become a Buddha before he became a Buddha is due to chanda Adhipati, predominance wish. Now we know what predominance wish is. Viriya, effort, is also a mental factor. The effort Bodhisattva had put into countless life before becoming a Buddha is the model of the predominance effort. We'll just show one snapshot of one of his past life. He was a merchant traveling with a ship for trading, crossing the ocean. Big storm came, the ship wrecked. So he was in the ocean. And if you think about it, there's no hope to survive. But regardless whether there's hope to survive or possibility or probability to survive exists or not, is one thing. Whether he tried his best against all odds is another thing. And what he did was, he swam and swam and swam for 7 days. Because of that, the situation got the attention of the, let's call it, ocean female Deva, and he was saved. That was the effort. That kind of effort is called Viriya Adhipati, predominance effort. That's how he fulfilled his Viriya Parami, perfections of effort. Okay, the next one is Citta Adhipati, predominance consciousness. Once I was talking about predominant consciousness, and a yogi asked, what is it? The idea was to nail there is a consciousness, a consciousness, the consciousness, a soul, predominant consciousness. That was the perception the yogi had. at that time just mentioned, oh, that's determination, the will. But precisely this predominant consciousness is the very strong and firm Satipatthana Javana Citta. Javana Citta is a swift consciousness, impulsions. If you remember the thought process, you will know there are 7 of them arising one after the other before it move on to the next consciousness. So Javana Citta, but one thing was that this one is very specific. If you study in detail, you will know what it is. But at this moment, just remember that there are 52 of them. 52 different kinds of Javana Citta, Satipatthana Citta. With 2 or 3 good roots, wholesome roots. 2 roots is alobha, adosa. 3 roots is alobha, adosa, amoha. So this predominant consciousness has to be one of the 52 Javana Citta and must be associated with 2 good roots or 3 good roots. And that consciousness is called predominant consciousness. Very specific qualities is required. During those countless lives as a bodhisattva, he had many highs and lows. In other words, in some cases born in Deva realms, some time rich, comfortable humans, and some cases animals, some cases drunkards. So there are high lives and low lives or existence. But regardless, whatever lives he was born in, whether with great pleasure, he doesn't suck into it. When it is very low, as an alcoholic, regardless, Bodhisattva never lose sight of becoming a Buddha. That is resolute. That unbending, determined mind is Citta Adhipati, predominance consciousness. The next one is Vimansadhipati. Actually, this is the mental factor, wisdom. In Pali, Pinya, Vimansa, one and the same. But in here, in the scripture, it's written as Vimansa. It is the intellect, intelligence, with 34 Satipatthana Javana Citta, with 3 wholesome roots. This is the intelligence that is carried by very specific 34 types of swift consciousness associated with 3 good roots. Not 2, all must be 3. Amoha. Amoha is wisdom. Wisdom is amoha. So it is not referring to the consciousness, it refers to the intellect, wisdom. In countless lives, as a bodhisattva before he became a Buddha Gautama, he was constantly developing intelligence and wisdom and always leading towards the Four Noble Truths, the final, the highest wisdom of all. That is Adhipati. So this is just a definition of what full predominance is. Now let's use a yogi in retreat as a case study. A yogi in retreat abandons the comfort of home to practice meditation at the retreat center for many months. Why does he do that? Abandoning all the comfort and then go have a very disciplined, focused life at the retreat center. Because of this desire, because of the chanda Adhipati, his chanda wish is stronger than all other else, so he forsake everything and went to the meditation center and practiced for 3 months, 6 months, some yogis a year. That's Chanda Adhipati. And the yogi, when he or she is at the center, has to observe or practice from dawn to dusk, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock midnight, every day, without taking a break or a gap. And that is Adhipati, predominance, effort. When your effort is leading, when the effort is at the helm, everything falls into places behind it. And during the retreat, the yogi faces pleasant as well as unpleasant insights. Don't think insights are all good and dandy. Some insights are very, very unpleasant, bad. However, the yogi does not surrender. That is resolute consciousness, Citta Adhipati. The mind is firm and strong, determined. Because of that, when he has great insights, one doesn't get hooked into it. When there are bad insight, one does not surrender. The first two insights are enjoyable, but the third insight, unpleasant feelings of pain, tingling, tension, aching, numbing, dizziness, itchiness, nausea, like heaviness pressing down, difficulty in breathing, all of these arises in a yogi at that insight. It is tiring and exhausting, both physically and mentally exhausted and also physically drained. Some yogis surrender and leave the retreat. But some yogis, they stay and march on, and that is due to Citta, Adhipati, predominance consciousness. The resolute mind, the surrendering mind. That's a third insight. The fourth insight is pleasing and alluring. That pleasantness at the third insight is, the Buddha said, it's better than the pleasure of some of the lower level devas. But the yogi does not get attached to it and move on. At the fifth insight of dissolution, Bingajnana, every object that you're observing is dissolving. As soon as you note an object, it's already gone and disappear. You felt it arise, but all that you see and experience is disappearance. Not only the object disappear, the mind that knows the object also disappear, dissolved. Actually, one is experiencing impermanence, anicca of both mind and matter. Mind's anicca, body's anicca, impermanent. The speeds of disappearance is so fast, it spins your mind to the point of dizziness. And actually, what is happening is you're also experiencing dukkha, suffering, that dizziness, that scary, everything sucked into oblivion. And also there's nothing one can do to stop it. So that is experiencing anatta, non-self. That's the fifth insight. From there, once you got that insight, next one is the fear. You had fear in the dissolution of mind and matter. Your mind and matter is disappearing, so you get scared. What's happening? Both mind and matter gone, gone, gone. Fear, called bhayajnana. And because of that, he began to see faults. Before you hold on to this mind and matter, great and mighty. But now you see this mind and matter, this existence, let's call it existence. You see faults in that existence. Because they are disappearing. That's his fault. Before you think it's solid. And then suddenly you become miserable with that fears. And seeing the fault, you become miserable. That is Nibbida Jnana. Seeing fault is Adinava Jnana. And sight of misery is Nibbida Jnana. And then suddenly a desire to escape from this mind and matter arises. It's so bad and so miserable. You don't want this mind and you don't want this body. Mongchitu Kamyata Jnana, it arises. So those are insight number 6, 7, 8 and 9. Fearful, faulty, miserable, and want to escape. And the 10th insight is Paticcasamuppada. All the unpleasant feelings and many more, one experience, and the 3rd insight appears again. And suddenly the yogi said, what is happening? And demoralized. At this stage, yogis who have intense suffering at the 3rd insight will suffer to a lesser degree. And those with a low level of suffering at the 3rd insight will suffer severely. Some yogis leave the retreat, and some yogis take time off from meditation and went to the volunteer section at the retreat and work as a volunteer. But once you got to that level, the noting mind, whether you are observing or not, you find that that is still noting, mind still arising on its own. You are doing the volunteer work, suddenly there's automatically you see rising, falling, rising, falling. You are doing something and then when you're walking, you automatically, without focusing, lifting, pushing, dropping, got to the attention. That kind of things happen. So let's say after a week or two, the yogi said, okay, I'm going to return to the meditation. Regardless how headaches and pains and dizziness are, I'm going to strive on. Because at that time, Adhipati has risen again, predominance, consciousness. Whether it is how low it is, won't give up. During these periods, the meditation teacher must give inspiring talks to instill the Adhipati, predominance consciousness. To arise, the teacher has to give inspiring talks. Insight 11, 12, and 13 are effortless and pleasant. Achieving 13th stage of vipassana insight, and then path wisdom and fruition wisdom. They are Vimansa Adhipati. Once you got that, the pinya, the wisdom become the leader. They are Vimansa Adhipati, predominance, wisdom. And when the predominance wisdom arises, all others follow behind it. That will be sufficient to understand what full predominance is. May all of you be able to practice mindfulness insight meditation, keeping one of the predominance as a leader and succeed in the practice and attain liberation as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much.